to each and every people and participant and my respected faculties, honorable principal sir present over here. And I would also be highly grateful to India Tourism Indore and our honorable principal sir, Dr. Manoj Kumar Das, to give me and my co-host, Mr. Abhinav sir, this opportunity to host this nationwide campaign that is World Tourism Festival. So under the direction of UNTO, we are and collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism, we are organizing 4-day World Tourism Festival. And the basic idea of this World Tourism Festival is to inculcate the basic thoughts of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Singh Modi, that is vocal for local. Now, it is very essential. I would like to say also, when I was coming to Gwalior in the month of February, I was typing on the Wikipedia, just like Gwalior only. So the moment I type, I found that Gwalior Fort. That means we all know Gwalior Fort, but we don't know what is Ater Fort. We had a webinar last day also, and we don't know this famous cultural and religious statues of Gwalior, the way you are watching the poster right now. So that's the reason uh, this webinar has been conducted, and I, Rajat Roy Chaudhary, assistant lecturer at IHM Gwalior, welcome everybody. And now, without wasting much time, I would like to introduce Mr. Ramkishan Kongala. Mr. Ramkishan Kongala is an example of passionate photographer and a great educator. You know, हम सब ये बात जानते हैं कि हमें शिक्षा मिलती है, हम को बेच के खाते हैं. You know, we get that degree, with that degree we get a job and we get a nice bank account and ATM card and credit card. But Mr. Ramkishan Kongala is a personality who has utilized his talent for the development of tourism and the development of the lifestyle. Because he not only keep the tourism of Gwalior inside the Gwalior city, but also around the India. This is the speciality that we should learn, that how Mr. Kongala has dedicated his education, which he has learned from his society and given back to the society for the development. So please, participant, buckle up your seat belts, because there will be a great virtual tour of all the religious places of the Gwalior. And we must not forget, we are introducing a speaker today who is a passionate photographer also. So don't miss his great art of picture taking. So now it's time that I would like to introduce I would like to call our honorable principal, Dr. Manoj Kumar Das, to enlighten us with his word of wisdom on the occasion of World Tourism Festival. Das sir, over to you. Please start.
He will join us within a 1 minute time. I think some network issue was there, so he will join us again.
Abhinav.
All right, take care, fine.
Abhinav, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Kongala.
Yes, sir. Kongala, sir. You are
Yes,
audible,
sir.
sir. Audible.
So, what am I saying is, I to have a network problem, but I'm using my hotspot. So,
Okay.
I will do video, and I would request other participants also to look at my voice and presentation rather than the video. Okay.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Right, sir.
All of their videos. Yes.
Over to Das, sir.
All right, sir.
Das, sir, please come.
Yeah, actually, it got disconnected. So sorry, I'm sorry. So first of all, very good afternoon to all the attendees of this webinar today, which is a very interesting webinar, and in which we have invited the faculty from the esteemed Institute of Travel and Tourism in Gwalior, that is Mr. Ramkishan Kongala. Sir, welcome to you, sir, for this platform. And today, sir, actually, we have invited you because actually, although there are some very good temples in and around Gwalior, but actually we observe these temples as an object. We don't see the intricacies between it, which, sir, you will be enlightening us to our students and viewers and my colleagues also. So, sir, I have, frankly speaking, I have attended some of this temple tourism seminars under the tourism Vikas month of Gwalior, and I have participated there in your classes. Sir, it was really a fascinating thing that so many things are there to learn from visiting a temple. And we normally go to the temple and we offer our gratitude to the God and goddesses, and we come back by just doing a parikrama. But beyond that, if some time is there, we look around here and there, how the landscape is there and how the other nearby spots are there. But we never think of how the epitome is made, how the garbhagriha or the sanctum sanctorum is made, what is the importance of this top of the temple, the bottom of the temple, the architecture in the sides of the temple, so like this. So, sir, it is really worth hearing from you, sir. And I hope my students will take it, the learnings from you forever, because I have also captured some of your learnings in the past webinars, sir. It is really interesting. And the number of followers for you in the Facebooks and YouTube are in thousands. That's a great achievement for you, sir. I congratulate you for that also. And I wish some of my students and colleagues also will be a fan of yours in the YouTube and your all social Instagrams and social sites. So, sir, it will be a great benefit for our students and the team of other attendees today. And, sir, the temples are, of course, it is very limited nearby places. But the town you belong to, sir, is the richest temple over there, and people from there in thousands and thousands, on even lakhs and lakhs, and which is not there in the places of like Gwalior. But still, there is many things to learn, sir. And I hope, being I have also stayed here decades in Gwalior, but the intricacies is not well known to me, frankly speaking. So, sir, today we will hear from you, and also for my all the teams and the students, that how this temple give us some knowledge, some facts and figures just by observation. The temple will not say anything. Only thing is that is there in the pictorial form. We have to grasp it. So in that way, sir, I request you for your this. I thank you for your kind concern for our webinar today, and we'll be listening the most from you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure, sir.
Thank you, Das sir. Very, very well true and very well words by yourself, sir. Thank you so much for enlightening this session. Now I request, without much wasting time, to Professor Kongla, sir. So inviting him is a big challenge for us, but he's a very much kind-hearted person. I say that because I know he, from his learning point of view, whenever he says something. So it is a great learning and great asset for us, all of you, that we have such kind of virtual platform in front of him. So I invite the Kongla sir to enlighten the session from his wisdom of words. Over to Kongla sir.
Yeah, thank you. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Very much visible, sir.
Yeah. So
All good, sir. All good.
yeah. Namaste, everybody. Very good evening. And I would request everybody to turn off your videos so that we can have a hassle-free discourse. And just a minute. Yes. So, namaste to all. Very good evening. I thank Sir Abhinav and all other IHM faculties for their kind invitation. And this evening, we have 1 hour with us. In this 1 hour, quickly, what we will do is we will try to understand the temples that are there in and around Gwalior. So you can also follow me on social media sites for further information on temples. Yeah. Before beginning this lecture, let us have a small shloka from Rig Veda, the first shloka of Rig Veda, which is my favorite. Yeah, so there was the shloka from Rig Veda, the first shloka, where attributes are paid to the god Agni Deva, right? So from there, going ahead, the slide that is visible here, you can see, is the layout of Gwalior Fort. So this is in north and south axis, and then this is east and the west. Many of you must have visited okay, most of the places that I am talking today, but I will discuss something that like you do not come across in some book or some internet, and which are very important, and there are also a few myths and false narratives which we will be discussing today. So there are two important gates to this Gwalior Fort. Why am I talking about Gwalior Fort is because we have 2-3 important temples here which we will be discussing, which are in Gwalior, and later on we will move out of Gwalior. So one important gate that we have here is Urvahi Gate, which is there in the valley of Urvahi, okay, from this side. And then we have another important gate from the northern entrance, which is called as Hindola Gate. Hindola Gate is locally very famous with the name Hathi Pol also, right? And for your information, this is where generally most of us okay, visit the Mansingh Palace. And okay, this is the route. Generally, okay, through Hindola Gate, you will be moving towards the Mansingh Palace, right? So here, the red spot that you see here, okay, this is the place where you have Jain and Hindu temples, both.
Kamla sir, sorry to interrupt. Actually, your presentation was driven disturbance from Devi Singh Chauhan sir. Kindly represent it because some screens are not available.
Okay, shall I discontinue and continue again?
Yeah, represent it, sir. Share it again. Present now. You can say downstairs present now, right, sir?
Okay, right.
I request the participants from the please don't present your screen in between that speaker. It will be disturbed to us.
Yeah, and I am requested to keep your videos off, please. Yeah, is it visible now?
Yes, sir. It's visible now. It's getting visible. Yes. Go ahead,
Yes.
sir. Please go ahead, sir. Thank
So
you.
where did I miss actually? Where did I stop?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So I said this is the northern side and this is the southern side, and I talked about two gates. One is the Urvahi Gate, which is there in the Urvahi Valley of Gwalior Fort, and a second one is from the northern entrance, which is called as Hindola Gate. Two gates I have mentioned. And why am I talking about this layout of the Gwalior Fort is because we have a few important temples here. And this one, which the red spot that is visible here, is the place where you have Jain and Hindu temples. So what are these Jain and Hindu temples? They are not structural temples. When I say structural temples, you add stone by stone to make a temple. Rather, here they are cave temples. In a sense, stone is removed from a mountain or a hillock to create the temple. And why am I saying? Because you have wonderful, beautiful temples when you are climbing from Hindola Gate towards the Mansingh Palace in the Gwalior Fort. Okay. In between, you will come across a lot of gates also. I will talk about that meanwhile. But then let us go ahead and see. Yeah. This is one view. Okay. When you come from Hindola Gate towards the Gwalior Fort, or when you keep climbing. And one that is visible here, you can see. What is this temple called? The name of this temple is Chaturbhuj Temple. The name of this temple is Chaturbhuj Temple. And Chaturbhuj, when I say, okay, the one who has 4 shoulders, okay, and he is Vishnu, who will be holding Gada, Shankha, Chakra, and Padma. Now, what is the beauty of this temple is, let us go ahead and see, that this is a monolithic temple. Monolithic in the sense, okay, many people do not understand what is monolithic, which is carved out of single stone. A single stone, in the sense, there was a mountain and they have carved the total temple out of a single stone. And then later on, okay, during invasions, okay, the Shikara temple was destroyed. But then ASI has tried to recreate the Shikara, but then they could not bring that intricacy that was okay, brought on by our ancestors. What is the beauty of this temple, or greatness of this temple is, this temple has an inscription. And this inscription is considered as one of the oldest, not the only old, but one of the oldest inscriptions in the country. wherein we have the reference of 0. In the sense, 0 is written. The shape of 0 is written in the inscription. And how does the inscription go? Where is the inscription? You can see the doorway here. When you enter into this Chaturbuj Garbhagriha, towards the left of you, okay, you find the inscription on the wall, and on that inscription you find in 2 places. And what does the inscription says? Inscription says simply, there were 270 hastas of land. Very beautifully it says. How many? 270. So when they mention 270, they have used 0 between the 2 and, okay, after the 2 and 7. And then later on it says 270 hastas of land was sown with flower plants. And those flower plants generate 50. How many? 50. 50. Again 0 comes here. 50 garlands, okay, to be used for the Chaturbuj, or the Vishnu who is there in this Chaturbuj temple. To beautifully say. So if any country has such inscription, okay, which is one of the oldest inscription, okay, which has okay, 0 mentioned, okay, in its original shape in 2 places, they would have created a great museum and called it as 0 temple, or called the Gwalior as 0 city, okay, or 0 museum, and they would have celebrated. But unfortunately, many of us, okay, are not aware that whenever we have to refer to epigraphical evidences of 0 written, okay, then we have to see. It's not that okay, oldest 0 is not available. For example, there is this manuscript called as Bakshali manuscript, which we found in Peshawar and okay, regions around. In this Bakshali manuscript you find, but then it is not epigraphical, rather it is okay, transcript written in the manuscript. That is the difference. So this thing, wherever I go, I highlight about the epigraphical evidence of 0 written, okay, which is there in the Chaturbuj temple. And one of the oldest temples in Gwalior, the Chaturbuj temple, which also holds this 0 epigraphical evidence, has got beautiful sculpture, but due to environmental and climatic weathering, most of the sculptures have lost their beauty. For example, see from this view, okay, and you can imagine, okay, in present day, today, the ASI has got we have got a lot of advanced technology and cutting machinery, but then ASI, okay, and its reconstruction of the Shikara could not match with the intricacy that our ancestors have achieved. That is one of the pondering question. Why do we fail after having so much advanced technology to build the same way that our ancestors have built? Imagine you have a beautiful small mandapa and everything out of single stone, and a Garbhagriha and a Shikara, and this kind of temple that you see here is Nagara style of temple. We will come across a lot of such wonderful and beautiful facts about temples in coming slides. Now, so the same temple, see, for example, if it is dedicated to Vishnu temple, so you will find most of the sculpture related to Vishnu only. For example, you can see here the Varaha avatar of Vishnu. What is Varaha doing? You can see in this is simple, and this is half-feet sculpture, just almost to the size of your okay, the palm. That's it. And in that size itself, imagine the episode, the way they have carved and sculpturally they have represented. The episode of Varaha avatar of Vishnu rescuing Bhudevi, okay, from being drowned in the oceans. One beautiful episode, okay, Varaha avatar, right? And then another okay, episode that you find from the same Chaturbuj temple is Trivikrama. Trivikrama in the sense, when the Vishnu takes the avatar of Vamana and visits, okay, and then he goes to Mahabali, and then he asks for okay, space of 3 feet, and that is when he takes 3 feet, okay, one in the okay, on the earth, the other one in the Swarga, and the other one in the Akasha. So likewise, 3 steps he will be taking, and this is indicated okay, in this episode beautifully. And you can observe the sculpture has withered due to okay, climatic conditions, and it was also vandalized and demolished, ransacked also, and that is the reason you do not find okay, because of iconoclasm, you do not find okay, most of the faces intact, and it becomes very difficult for a layman or the learners to identify which kind of sculpture it is. For example, here you do not have half part of Bhudevi itself; it has been chiseled out, okay, purposefully chiseled out. But then see, if you visit this temple in Gwalior Fort, Chaturbuj temple, you have beautiful sculpture, intricate temple, and also zero epigraphical evidence. One of the oldest zero epigraphical evidences also. That is the beauty of this Chaturbhuj temple. Now, going ahead from this Chaturbhuj temple, if you go little ahead, you will come across a gate called as Lakshman Gate, or you generally call it as Lakshman Pole. So when you stand below that Lakshman Pole and you turn towards the west, why? Because you will be coming from the east, and when you turn towards the west, you see this huge empty space here. And for many days, none of the Gwaliorites or most of us were aware what actually this is. And when I have observed closely, I found this Gaja here, the elephant. And when I have studied still much closer, then I understood that this was nothing but Gajasura Samhara Murti of Shiva. Shiva, where he will be slaying the demon Gajasura. He will enter the stomach of Gajasura and he will pierce the stomach of Gajasura. And then he will be dancing by covering his body with the skin, okay, of the Gajasura. And it was, and generally the Gajasura Samhara Murti, majorly 90-95% of these sculptures, they are restricted to South India or till Deccan, till Burhanpur and the south of Burhanpur. But to the north of Burhanpur, you don't find Gajasura Samhara Murti much. And it was to my surprise, okay, after I found this Gajasura Samhara Murti at Lakshman Pole, I was very much surprised. And if this was intact and if it was not chiseled out, this could have been one of the largest Gajasura Samhara Murtis in the North India, one of the grandest. Because unless until you do not go to Ellora caves, if you do not go to Elephanta, then some other temples in South India belong to Cholas and Pallavas, you do not find that easily the Gajasura Samhara Murti. And that you found here itself is a, okay, in the sense, imagine it was there earlier and it may predate somewhere, or it comes between somewhere around 7th century AD, somewhere around 800, 600, okay, CE to 1500, 1400 CE, in between that, okay, time period. Now, so again, okay, you can see here, okay, the same way, after crossing that Lakshman Pole and Gajasura Samhara Murti, you can see a few, okay, caves or a few excavations here that being done, and you can also see a small temple here. So such structures were, okay, present, okay, in plenty in this route, especially, okay, from the Hathipol region, and both they were Hindu temples also, and they were dedicated to Jain temples also. They were excavated out of the, okay, mountain. This mountain, this mountain is basically the sandstone mountain. And this is how did this mountain suddenly appear in this? Because this belongs to Vindhya Mountains. And what is the speciality of Vindhya Mountains? Vindhya Mountains is a discontinuous mountain of sandstone. And that is the reason they have identified and they have carved, and for 1000 years, okay, somewhere around 6th century CE to 15th century or 16th century CE, for 1000 years, okay, it was fishing with Hindu and Jain temples here. Later on, when it was invaded by Mughal rulers and the Delhi sultans, they were chiseled out, and then this portion of the Gwalior fort has lost its glory, right? And then see in the same path, okay, you can see Mahishasura Mardini here, very beautiful. And what would be the length of this sculpture? Maybe 1 feet or 1.5 feet, not more than that. In that 1.5 feet itself, the sculptural details that you can see, even after being chiseled out, ransacking also, and then even after okay, being weathered to the environment and climate, still they are intact, and you can identify, okay, if you have little knowledge about what iconography means. And here this is Mahishasura Mardini killing the demon Mahishasura. Here you can see Aditya, or the sun god, holding 2 lotuses in his hand, and then you have Vishnu here. And then again you have Aditya here, the sun god, and then the Vishnu, and then you have Uma Maheshwara Murti here. Beautiful sculptures. And then understanding this, you do not find Brahma anywhere, but then you find mostly Vishnu related gods, and Shiva. We have to understand somewhere, okay, the rulers, they had more interest in Shiva and Vishnu.
Sir, Sorry to disturb you. I think Mr. Nageshwar Rao was attempting to join and he's again presenting his screen. Your screen is not visible to us, so reconnect it, sir. Pin
Okay,
the,
I'll stop this share and I'll reconnect again from.
I
Yes,
have
sir. Yes,
pinned
sir.
my presentation already.
Yes, right. Sorry for these disturbances in between, right? Okay.
Yeah, it was clear. I have pinned your presentation. I think it is visible.
Yeah.
No, sir. I think
Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible, sir. Now.
it's coming.
Right. Yeah, going ahead from this, okay, the sculpture, the beautiful sculpture that you find in this Hatipol region from this entrance. See, in the same region, you can also find some miniature, okay, Jain temples, or simply we can call them as Jain Basadis. Okay, Jain, the word Basati comes from the Vasati, in the sense where you stay. So you can also find the Jain Tirthankara inside this, okay, Basadi, but then, okay, again it is chiseled out or it is demolished. And then coming to the other side of the fort, I said there are two gates, famously the Hindola gate and the Urvahi gate. So this is the Urvahi region, the valley. And in this Urvahi valley, we have one region which is called as Gopanchal Parvat. So this is Gopanchal region, and in this Gopanchal region, you find huge sculptures of Jain Tirthankaras and beautiful Jain temples. And they are so intricately carved, okay, even after some 1,000 years also, they are still intact. Even after being demolished also, most of the part is intact. Maybe because they could not do, because all of them was in stone. And some caves or cave temples, you find that they are incompletely left. For example, you can see the Jain Tirthankaras here. Okay, 4 or 5 Jain Tirthankaras are visible, and all of them are standing. And why are they standing? Because okay, the mudra that they are standing is called as Kayotsarga mudra. Kaya plus Utsarga. Kaya means the body, and Utsarga in the sense they are standing tall. And what is the beauty of this Kayotsarga mudra? Why are they standing? Is okay, you,
Ramkishan sir, Ramkishan, I'm sorry once again. You need to start. Extremely sorry, sir. So once again, restart your presentation, sir.
okay, I will do that.
Yes, yes. I'm extremely sorry.
Participants, I'm requesting each and every participant not to present the screen. I already told we can remove the after this, those who are presenting. Kindly make sure you don't not present. Nageshwar Raji, please don't present your screen.
Yeah, so people who join by the mobile phone request you that there is something called ask to join and present now. So do not click on the present now, just straight away click on ask to join. We will admit you. Yes, sir. Please, sir. Start, sir.
Yeah,
Ramkishan,
yeah.
sir, please start. Yeah.
So the beauty of Kayotsarga mudra is this. Okay, it like it is the mudra wherein the Jaina Tirthankaras, okay, they have attained their moksha. In the sense, the most difficult of all the yoga mudras is the Kayotsarga mudra, wherein you have to stand, you have to control your body, and then you have to attain moksha. And that in the sense, the Kayotsarga mudra of Jain Tirthankaras indicates the difficulty, okay, that okay they go through, but still they attain moksha. The severity of the austerities they practice is the resemblance or is the representation of the Kayotsarga mudra. Okay, beautiful Jaina temples, okay, in Gopanchal region. And going ahead, you can see, for example, here this is Adinath or Rishabdev, okay, in this Gopanchal region only. And then how do we identify Adinath or Rishabdev? Just below the okay, sculpture or the murti, you will find a Lanchana or the icon of them. Okay, the one that is there here is called as Lanchana. But sometimes Lanchana is not available, but it is easy to identify Adinath because you have 3 tufts of hair, okay, on his head. So by looking at 3 tufts, you can easily say that he is the Adinath or Rishabdev. Right. So in the same way, okay, this is the Gopanchal region. But then if you go a little ahead, okay, you find this, okay, again, the same Rishabdev or Adinath. And the height of this Rishabdev or Adinath is 58 feet, 58.4 exactly, but then 58 feet. And you know, this is higher than the Gomateshwara Bahubali that is there in Karnataka, Shravana Belagola, which is just 57 feet. And then recently, recent construction was there in Nashik. You have Ahimsa statue, which is somewhere around 108 feet high, and that statue is considered as the first largest statue in the world. Okay, the Jaina statue, and then the one that is there in Uruhahi Gate of Gwalior Fort is considered as the second largest. Okay, and most of the Gwaliorites, they do not know this fact that we generally the Gwalior possesses a wonderful treasure of this Tirthankara Adinath or Rishabdev, which is almost 58.4 feet high, one of the humongous structures. You stand there, you look so minuscule before it, and they have achieved this at least 1,000 years before from today, and that is one of the civilizational achievement they have done. And just in Gopanchal region, in this cave temple, you can see the Dwara of this Basadi. See how intricately, and the Torana also you can see. Okay, and this Torana, you can see the crocodile here, and that is the reason the Torana is called as Makara Torana. And then from two sides, Makara is there, and Makara Torana. Again, Makara Torana also has got a lot of relevance. Makara represents the water. Okay, and in the center also you have a Kalasha, which also represents water. So water has got a lot of relevance in Hindu, Jaina, and Buddhist iconographical relevance. Now, coming to the other place, you have another this place. Sorry, I was saying Gopanchal earlier. It was not Gopanchal, it was Siddhanchal, and this is Gopanchal. Okay, excuse me there, right? I was thinking it as as Gopanchal. No, that was Siddhanchal, and this is Gopanchal. And in comparison to Siddhanchal, Gopanchal Parvat that is there in Gwalior Fort is more intricate. Though it has been demolished and ransacked and chiseled out, the iconographical details that are there are more beautiful and intricate than the Siddhanchal Parvat. For example, you can see the Jaina Munis here, and the Chatras. For example, see all the Jaina Munis or Tirthankaras, they have this chatra over their head. And what is this chatra? Chatra means parasol. What is the relevance of this parasol? This parasol represents the sovereignty, and the Jaina Tirthankaras hold sovereignty in their divinity. That is the reason we follow them. Right? And going ahead, after completing the Gopanchal and the Hindu Jain cave near the Nicola Gate of Gwalior Fort, we have come to this beautiful temple which is called as the Sahasrabahu Temple Complex of Gwalior Fort. You can see this is an incomplete temple. The one that is visible is only the Mukhamandapa and Mandapa of the temple, and the Shikara is not there. I will show you how that would look like with the Shikara. But then there are two temples in this complex. One is the bigger temple, which is dedicated to Vishnu, and the smaller temple also dedicated to Vishnu. Most of the people think that the bigger temple is dedicated to Vishnu and smaller temple for Shiva. It is not the way, because I have gone there personally and studied, and by understanding the iconographical details, sculptural details, we could easily understand that that is also dedicated to Vishnu. Now, in this Sahasrabahu temple, this Sahasrabahu temple complex was built by Kachbagata rulers. King Mahipala has built. But then you can see what is the beauty in this temple is the door frame that you see here. This is the Dwara. And in this Dwara, there are 7 layers of, 7 shakas, the branches. Okay, it is also called as the Sapta Shaka. For example, there is this temple in Karnataka in a place called as Lakundi. And this Lakundi temple has got 9 shakas, the highest recorded. And then after that, the highest next recorded 7 shakas are there. For example, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. You have till here. And all these shakas, they have different names. We will not be discussing here, but then this door frame itself has got a 7-layered door frame. And this is one of the rarest in India. Like I said, the Lakundi temple has got 9 frames, a layered door frame. And here the Sahasrabahu temple, the bigger one, has got a 7-layered door frame. You go there, you have beautiful, intricate details present there. And then dedicated to Vishnu. How do I understand that a temple is dedicated to Vishnu? Because on the Dwara, okay, at this portion, okay, this is called as Lalata Bimba, or else where you apply the tilaka. So here you can see, okay, the person or the Vahana that is visible here is Garuda. So if a Garuda is present here, then you have to understand that it is dedicated to Vishnu. Or sometimes what if it is dedicated to Shiva, then you will find Ganapati, the family god of Shiva, or sometimes you will be finding okay, Devi, or sometimes you will directly find Lakulisha, the Pashupati cult representation of Shaivism, or directly the Shiva also you will be finding. For example, you can see here Vishnu directly there on the top of Lalat Bimba. So this is how. And the same temple, okay, Sahasrabahu, the bigger temple, you can see the mandapa, the main mandapa, or this is called as Maha Mandapa. And the pillars, humongous pillars, and the roof of this temple, how beautiful and intricate it is. And imagine 1,000 years ago, this intricacy was brought without any machinery, using without any advanced tools, a simple chisel and hand. And they have, okay, ended up in creating this magnificent structure. Wonderful. You go there, you sit in this temple, and you can, okay, keep pondering over hours together how they have achieved this great feat. And the same temple, you have beautiful sculpture. Okay, this one sculpture is of Vishnu and Sri Devi. Okay, unfortunately, it has been chiseled out, and okay, the only proof that we have to identify them is okay, the Vaijayanti Mala. Okay, that is there here. Right. Next. When you enter into the Garbhagriha of this Sahasrabahu temple, okay, you find again this beautiful, again same Sapta Shaka, 7-layered door frame. The 7-layered door frame, and see, you can see the presentation, and you can observe how things are in detailly sculpted here. Understanding? Okay, you can see the Vishnu, and then okay, you can see Brahma here, and then you can see Shiva here. And then the one here is the Garuda. So by understanding the Garuda, you have to okay understand that the temple or the deity, chief deity inside the Garbhagriha should be Vishnu. And just look at the details of this okay, Dwara Stambhas. Okay, how beautifully they are carved. And imagine, and just believe me, it is very difficult to bring this kind of detailed intricacy even on the paper. But then they have done it on the stone, and especially the red sandstone. Okay, and why am I saying especially red sandstone? Because once you go more detailed, there are fair chances of breaking of those details. Why? Because it is soft, and without breaking, without causing much harm to what they are sculpting, they have okay, beautifully with a lot of care have sculpted all this in detail. But unfortunately, we could not retain them because of the invasions that have happened. Right. So yeah, this is how. So this is the photograph that was clicked by Raja Deen Dayal, who is known as the prince of the photographers in India during those days. In 1880, this was clicked, the picture of Sahasrabahu temple. But then it do not have a shikara. So the one you see here was created by me. Digitally, I have created this shikara. And then with the shikara, this much grand, the Sahasrabahu temple must have looked. Today, unfortunately, only Mukhamandapa and Mahamandapa are there, and even the Garbhagriha and the Shikara, all of them are lost. Right. So just beside this Sahasrabahu temple, the bigger temple, you have okay, another Vishnu temple, which is a small one, a smaller Vishnu temple. And this smaller Vishnu temple, okay, also like it do not have a Garbhagriha, or where the chief deity has to sit. But then it has only the Mukhamandapa and Mahamandapa, and the rest of all the structure is lost. So this is the Mahamandapa of the smaller Vishnu temple, and you can see the details and the 4 pillars, okay, and the roof also, how intricately it is. So I bet like if you visit these both Sahasrabahu group of temples, you get mesmerized by their beauty and intricacy. Okay, and this is one of the famous pictures that is there on social media. Okay, generally people call it as the way to heaven, Swarga Dwara. Why? Because this is the door frame of the Garbhagriha that has to be there if there was Garbhagriha in the smaller Sahasrabahu temple. but then unfortunately the Garbhagriha no more is intact, but then the Dwara remained. And just look at the beauty of the Dwara. Imagine if there could have been the full Garbhagriha with the deity in it, then this could have been really the Swarga Dwara, or the way to heaven. And then yes, so this is the only Mukhamandapa and Mandapa I said, but then I thought I should also let people understand how this would have looked in its fullest form, and that is the reason I have tried to reconstruct the shikara that fell off. It is not exactly matching the magnitude of the Mukhamandapa and Mandapa. Somewhere it became little less, but then this is how roughly this beautiful it must have looked like. Right now, just from a little far from this Sahasrabahu temple complex, you have this temple which is called as Telika Mandir. This Telika Mandir, I do not know, there are a lot of stories behind the name of Telika Mandir, but then this temple is dedicated to Shiva. It was also dedicated to Vishnu for some time, and then you also find Matrakas, those Saptamatrikas. So Saptamatrikas are also there. And then basically at the entrance you find Yamuna and Ganga also. So by finding Yamuna and Ganga, you have to understand this must have been for a longer period of time the temple dedicated to Shiva. So constructed during the Pratihara time. Pratiharas in the sense they were Rajput rulers in the central India, or generally the Madhya Bharat, and especially during the time of Bhoja, Mihir Bhoja, they say this temple was built. But then again archaeological ASI has tried to reconstruct this temple, but this portion that you see here is the reconstruction, is not the originally that was created, because it is very plain. Originally here there should be a beautiful Rajasenaka. In a sense, there will be a big pot. From the pot you have a lot of floral designs getting out. So in the way, when you see this portion, it really looks wonderful and amazing. But then that was lost, and most of the people think that this shikara that is there is Dravidian shikara. And they say this temple is the combination of Dravidian and Nagara style of temples. And people who are listening for the first time, what is Dravidian? In the sense, the temple style in the South India is called as Dravidian temple or Dakshinapada temples, and the style that is used in Northern India is called as Nagara temple or Uttarapada temples. Right, but then this is not the combination of Dravidian and Nagara. Rather, this is Nagara temple, but then the shikara that looks like Dravidian is not actually Dravidian. This is Vallabhi. So this shikara, or the temples that were built in Vallabhi region were built in this barrel-shaped vaulted roof, and that was the reason. And that is the reason it looks more or less like a Dravidian shikara. It doesn't look exactly like, but similar to Dravidian, and that is the reason most of the people who are not aware, they simply say this is the combination of Dravidian and Nagara style, and that is the reason this is a rare edifice. It is a rare edifice, no doubt, but then it is a Vallabhi shikara, and it has got nothing to do with the Dravidian style of temple architecture.
Hello, Ramkishan sir. I'm sorry once again. The same thing happened. You need to restart again, sir.
Yeah.
Somebody has presented the screen.
Yes.
Please.
So we can. I have pinned the presentation of Ramakrishna. So you can pin your presentation on second slide. I think that will be much better.
Yeah.
Again.
Okay. Please, participant, once again, just please be careful.
So you can pin your presentation second slide.
I have pinned that.
Yeah. So, right. So going ahead, we have another beautiful temple here. Now, we were talking about the temples that are there in Gwalior, but then there are much more beautiful temples I have skipped. And I thought, because if we keep on talking about them, there is no end to the discussion. But then I thought very important temples should be discussed first. And the temple that you see here is a Mithavali temple, or this is also known as 64 Yogini temple, 64 Yogini temples. And this temple is a circular temple, and it is said that Herbert Spencer and Baker and Lutyens, they have traveled the central India, and they got inspired from this circular temple, 64 Yogini temple, and they have built the Indian Parliament. There are a lot of controversies also, but then I strongly believe they have got inspired. Why? Because The Rashtrapati Bhavan that you see, okay, is the central dome of Rashtrapati Bhavan is purely inspired from the Sanchi Stupa near Bhopal. So likewise, they have inspired from the existing temples, and there is no second thought about it. So likewise, the same Chauset Yogini temple that is there in Mithawali has also inspired the Parliament building. And then originally the structure should not be like this. Okay, there are 64 small cells or small mandapas inside this temple, and every mandapa or every temple used to have a shikara about it. In the sense, this will not be so plain and naked. It should have a shikara. For example, if there is a temple, okay, and every temple or every cell should have a shikara over it. But then unfortunately, due to earthquake or some other reasons, it fell, and we are not fortunate to see how actually it would have looked like. Now, see, the beauty of this Chauset Yogini temple is in the center, the chief deity was Shiva, and then all 64 cells you can see here, and each cell has one yogini. And then once upon a time, this was a university. Okay, and a lot of astrological or astronomical studies were done here based on the central, the central temple, the prasada that you see here was, based on its shade. Okay, it was also used as sundial to understand the movement of sun and the solar, calculations and lunar calculations. And along with that, astronomical calculations also. Along with that, what is the beauty of this temple is the water harvesting system. You can see everything is made of stone, and I cannot show you that in the picture, but then every place you have the stones arranged and stone pipes arranged in such a way the water will be collected in a place that is in a pond that is there outside the temple in the back of this temple. And all that water was used for the different purposes. For example, maybe ablutions, maybe for irrigation purposes, maybe for the land that was dedicated to temple. Okay, now let me make this thing clear for you all. Every temple used to have a land dedicated or donated by the ruling class or some other elite classes, so that whatever the revenue or crop or anything that was generated in those temple lands were used purely for the purpose of temple and its maintenance and the services that temple used to provide. For example, if there is a Gurukula, so the revenue that is generated from the temple lands would be used for Gurukula. So such way, a temple was a center of economic system in olden days, which today is no more center of economic system. Rather, they are all put to ruins. Now, along with this, see, this is not a full picture. I am yet to come up with a beautiful picture of this temple, with the reconstruction. But then whatever the incomplete reconstruction I have done of this Mithawali temple, this is how it must have looked like. Every smaller cell should have a shikara above it. And then the central shrine that is there, dedicated to Shiva should also have a shikara over it. So imagine if this Mithawali temple had all the shikaras, and the main shikara, how beautiful this temple would have looked like. Okay, and this tiles or the stones that you are seeing, like bricks, are all later on added to make this structure a little strong and survive for a longer period of the time. And another beauty of this temple is, see, I'm always saying those beautiful and exciting things about this. All the temples have been talking about. This is an anti-earthquake technique temple. In the sense, even if there is earthquake, the temple will not fall. The shikaras fell down, unfortunately, but then the whole temple still survives. And how is that done? Because there is this technique called as sandbox technique. So the base of this temple will be filled with the stone rubbles and the sand. So whenever there is this earthquake, because it is not a fixed structure, you have a lot of a gap here with the sand and rubbles, that will release the energy and that will act as a cushion to the temple, so that temple will not fall. And how many years back? This is sandbox technique that is used to make this temple anti-earthquake is at least 1,000 years old. And even today we fail to build such structures even after having so much advanced technology. And the same anti-earthquake technique is also used in the Himalayan region to construct the homes and the temples. For example, the use of wood and stone is extensively done in the Himalayan region to protect their houses or temples from earthquakes. Why? Because that is earthquake-prone region. And then just after 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers away from Mithawali temple, you have this Padavali. And this Padavali temple is again dedicated to Shiva. And what is the beauty of this Padavali temple is only mandapa remains. That is not beauty, actually it is a sad part. But then rest of the temple, 90% of the temple is lost, only 10% of the temple is left over. And what you see here in this picture is the 10%. And imagine how beautiful it is. And imagine if the temple has been in its fullest, how grand it would have been. And just look at the sculptures. See, in this small mandapas, in these 2 mandapas here, you have all the Puranas, the major Shiva Purana, Vishnu Purana, and kind of Surya Purana. All these kind of Puranas that are sculpted in intricate details here. And when you go, and if you're little aware of the episodes, you can stand there and you can easily identify the episode, what they were trying to convey us. And then this is a small portion. Another view. This is the only mandapa, the Mukha Mandapa and Maha Mandapa that is surviving today, and rest of all the temple is lost. And many like who are there in and around, I suppose they must have not visited this temple till now. If you all have not visited this Gadi Padavali Shiva temple, I would request you, please do visit and understand. It is very nearby, and then magnificent temple. You stand there, you will be surprised. And then just again another 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometers from this Padavali Shiva temple, then you have Batesar group of temples, wherein you have like Professor and great archaeologist K.K. Muhammad sir. He has worked here a lot, and he has renovated the temples, and he has made sure that 80 such temples have been erected, and 120 more temples are yet to be erected. So the work is incomplete; it is yet to be completed. And see, all of them are such cellular temples. And what are these cellular temples? These are called as Mandapika temples. In the sense, they are devoid, or they are not having mandapas. And because they are not having mandapas, they are called as Mandapikas. In the sense, single cellular temples. Such single cellular temples, you have more than 150 to 200 temples, and all in the same complex. And built during Gurjara Pratihara times, and purely in Nagara style. And Nagara in the sense North Indian temple construction style, and they are all inspired from the books like Maya Matam is one of the book that talks about the temple construction style. And then you also this is also inspired. It is also inspired from Manasara. A text. Manasara is also one of the texts which discusses in detail about the temple construction technique. Right. See, this is another view of the Batesar group of temples, wherein you find most of it in ruins. But then, thanks to his greatness, K.K. Muhammad Saab, he has tried a lot, but then all of them is left in between, and nobody has taken up the great assignment after K.K. Muhammad sir. But then yes, all of them. And beauty again of the temples is this. No cementing material have been used much during those days. All of construction was done through interlocking system, and that is the reason. Because of interlocking, what happens is you can simply dismantle them, you can relocate, and you can again assemble them. So that is the reason. You just have to understand the temple and its construction technique and its iconographical elements. Then you can easily assemble a temple if you find all the elements. And that is how, by understanding each and every stone, imagine how many stones it would take to construct a temple. And imagine how many stones might have been there for reconstructing 80 temples. And imagine how many stones Professor K.K. Muhammad sir must have counted each day to make them stand again. And So his efforts cannot be discussed or cannot be praised in words. Okay, it becomes very less. And this is another view of the same group of temples, like Mandapika strains. These are all right. And from the same temple complex, this is one of the beautiful sculpture. And what is this sculpture? Here you can see Shiva, and the other side, okay, it is Parvati. So Shiva and Parvati, they are getting married, and the Kalyanam of okay, and Shiva is called as Sundareshwar. So Kalyana Sundaramurti. So this panel is called as Kalyana Sundaramurti. So Kalyana Sundaramurti is where okay, like Kanyadana is done by Lord Vishnu, and then all puja, in the sense okay, Agni Puraskaras, okay, all of them was taken care by Brahma. He was the okay one who was okay taking care of all Agni Hotras and all, right? So beautiful sculpture from the same Batesar group of temples. Little far, some 20-25 kilometers away from Batesar group of temples, you find this Kakanmat, which was built by Kachapgata rulers. Again, the Shiva temple. Kaganmat is the name that comes from a Jain monastery that is there nearby. But then see, one beautiful thing, one blind okay belief is that. So till this top structure, this top structure in temples is called as Amalaka, okay, which looks like Amla. This Amla represents the sun god, okay, it represents the sun, or it sometimes represents the lotus, or it also sometimes represents the Rudraksha. Okay, the one of okay Lord Shiva. So it has got different okay representation and connotational okay relevance. But then fine. So it is to be understood that till this okay Amalaka is intact, nothing will happen to the structure, especially the okay upper structure or the Shikara. And that is the reason you can see most of the temple is in its ruins, but still okay the Amalakas that are there on the two, the Mandapa and the Shikara, are half intact, and that is the reason even today most of it is intact. Though okay 60% of it is lost. Okay, you do not find any sculptural details. Outer structure is lost, but still imagine okay the interlocking system and this single stone Amalaka that holds onto the rest of the structure. Okay, and the engineering marvel of our ancestors. Okay, one of the beautiful temples which is very close by Gwalior. And this is the Mandapa. You can see the intricate details of Mandapa and the pillars, the stambhas that are there. And the speciality of these stambhas are they are okay at least not less than okay 10 feet, 12 feet high stambhas have been erected here, and monolithic stambhas. And over them the beautiful temple has been built. And in the same okay Kaganmat temple complex, you also find this okay Linga and smaller Shiva temple. Maybe it is to be believed that the subsidiary shrine or Parivara Devata shrine, this must be, in the sense Parivara Devatas, in the sense the family god. Maybe if it is Shiva, the family gods of Shiva are like Nandi, Kartikeya, Ganapati, then Parvati. So all such people will be there in and around the main temple complex. They will be having their smaller shrines. So this must be one of the shrine. But then okay you also find okay Shivalinga here. Somebody in a later period of time they just have arranged and brought the Shivalinga here, but originally this should not be here. But then even today okay this looks with a lot of beauty and with a lot of aesthetic sense. So likewise what we have tried to do is okay we have tried to discuss 3-4 temples that are there in Gwalior, especially from the Hindola gate side, okay, wherein we have seen the Chaturbhuj temple, where we have oldest epigraphical evidences of 0. Then Sasbahu temple, Sahasrabahu temple, okay, it is called, and then Telika Mandir, which is okay wrongly considered by the people as Dravidian temple. Rather, it is Vallavi temple. And then the Mithawali temple, which is one of the architectural engineering wonders. Even today, okay, it was used once upon a time as astronomical university, and even today it stands as an edifice of anti-earthquake technique and water harvesting system. And what are it? See, all these techniques that I am talking today are very famous and are discussed day to day in our life. But then during those days, our ancestors have made sure that they follow all such techniques while they are building okay beautiful edifices. and then Bateshwar group of temple and Kakanmat we have seen. Okay, so like this, these are some 6 to 7 temples that are there in and around Gwalior, and within this 1 hour, I have been very quick. Okay, only 1 or 2 elements I have been discussing related to each and every temple, not more than that. Otherwise, just Mithawali temple itself can be discussed with its architectural details for hours together. If someone in this lecture, if they are familiar with me and my love for temples, they would understand how many hours I would just spend okay, talking about those sculptures and intricate details that they have carved. So likewise, okay, I come to an end, okay, and I conclude my lecture here with the Drona Stuti. Anayasena Varnam Vinadainyana Jeevan Dehante Tava Shawijam Dehime Parameshwara. And so this is the mantra that is okay, chanted whenever we visit the temple, and it is Drona Stuti. Drona says, okay, our leaving this world should be very peaceful, and while we are in this world, okay, it should be with a lot of ease, and there should not be difficulties, and that is the purpose of the life, and that is what Drona is asking the Parameshwara, to keep us happy always and to make life easy. I also request Parameshwara so that he gives easy life to everybody of us. Thank you everybody.
Thank you. Wonderful session conducted by Pongla sir. I think it was very warming session, and it was great to see such kind of depth knowledge related to temples around in and around Gwalior. So, on behalf of IHM Gwalior, on the occasion of World Tourism Day, we was conducting these kind of session in continuous based form. We have started in IHM Gwalior on 27th. We conducted a quiz program in which lot many participants had been participated. On 28th, we continue with the Chambal region, Gwalior, with the local NGO speaker we have invited. Today, Professor Kangla has given the in and around temples in Gwalior. It's a great continuous session under World Tourism Day celebration, which was this week's only. So thank you, Kangla sir, for providing us such unlimited knowledge and accepting our request on behalf of IHM Gwalior to share your valuable thoughts related to these temples and in and around Gwalior, and very depth knowledge. Today, I really learned that what kind of things should be knowledge enriching in this program. I'm sure all the participants have enjoyed this session, and now I like to request each and everybody, if somebody wants to curiosity of the session, which is related to Q&A session, we will take 5 minutes for that also. So if somebody from the participant want to ask something related to Congress, about the temples in and around Gwalior, they are most welcome. So we are open for that. Thank you. Anyone from the participants?
All right. I think I'll just have a small question to Mr. Kangla sir. So,
Yeah.
but sir, may I ask?
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
yes.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, this Telika Mandir is situated just opposite to the Scindia school, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Sir, I would like to know that when I went over there, I heard a story that this word has been taken from the state of Telangana because एक कुछ कहानी ऐसा था कि there was a king in Gwalior who decided to marry a South Indian queen, but the queen said that you have to build a temple according to the Dravidian structure. And that's the reason Teleka Mandir is the only Dravidian structure temple which is available in the North India. Is it true, sir?
And that is what I said. We are not very sure of like who has built the structure. It is said a businessman from okay, Telangana region who was an oil merchant has funded the temple, and that is how it was built. But then I am very sure okay, there are fair chances of temples being funded by the elite class, the merchant class. But then here there must have been the interference of the royal class, okay, royal family, no doubt about it. When it comes to Dravidian structure, I said very clearly, okay, when you refer to the Vallabi region, okay, Vallabi region and the temples of Vallabi region, and even the earliest Gupta temples also. So earliest Gupta temples also you find such kind of shikaras. So such shikaras are to be understood as Vallabi shikaras, not the Dravidian shikaras. So I should not be very blunt, but then people with not much understanding of temple architecture, they simply have a look at the physical appearance of Dravidian temple and they immediately try to relate it with this structure and they call it as a Dravidian temple. Okay, just to make it look a little different, but then that is not the fact. It is very well a Vallabi Shikara, and there are enough proofs, and okay, that can be proved also.
All right, thank you, sir. So, Bhatt sir, we lots of questions in the chat box. Please, sir, run it through.
I think some of the question I can take it from the chat box. Someone, sir, Congress, someone should know about the Tansen tomb of the Gwalior.
Acha,
Yeah.
Tansen tomb basically, which was built generally, it is not actually Tansen tomb. Okay. In that complex, a small part of the tomb is dedicated to Tansen. And it is actually Muhammad Ghaus Maqbara. The Muhammad Ghaus was one of the saints who was there in this region, and people say he was one driving force behind the Tansen. Likewise, maybe because local region, Tansen was much popular, and that is the reason they call it as Tansen Maqbara. So, in the shadow, towards the southwest of Muhammad Ghaus Maqbara, you find a small, very modest this structure, which is dedicated, or which is the Maqbara or burial ground of Tansen. So, in Maqbara generally, let us talk about Muhammad Ghaus Maqbara is a pure Indian, in the sense Indic structure. People say Indo-Islamic architecture, but then except the domes, even the domes are Rajputana domes and not pure Islamic domes, because they are not double domes. And when I use such words, double domes, Islamic domes, then pure domes, okay, the people who are not familiar with the architecture may get confused. That is the reason. Yeah.
Very true, sir. So there's a Akanksha Rajput. She wants to tell us about the Gwalior historical moments. She wants to learn some historical moments also, sir.
Yeah.
So as in Gwalior. So you can just say simple words to from. She's in Gwalior only. She wants to know about the city. That's why she put the question.
Yeah, Gwalior is such a wonderful or magnificent city wherein you have a lot of history and heritage. So the best way to understand the Gwalior city is okay, to explore, go and visit each and every place, take pen and paper, okay, note down the details, okay, and even available in Gwalior, so you can come to me anytime. I will give you historical details related to those places, and I will also give good references to read, so that you will understand Gwalior better.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think most of the things have been there. So somebody from back want to ask something?
There is one question from Madhusudan. He is asking how to differentiate idol of Lord Surya and Lord Vishnu.
Yeah.
It is simple to identify Lord Surya is like he holds two lotus flowers in both the hands. He will be holding two Padmas. So again, this is a beautiful iconographical interpretation. Surya holds two Padmas in two hands because the blooming of lotus flower is related to sunlight. So that relation is beautifully explained in the iconography of Surya, the sun god. So with that, Vishnu.
Excuse me, may I ask a question, please?
Yeah, ma'am. Please go ahead.
I missed out the explanation of Coyote Circle figures. He was speaking about Coyote Circle.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I would like to know that once again.
Yeah. So, Kayotsarga is a word that comes from two Sanskrit words, which means Kaya plus Utsarga. In a sense, the body that is standing. And this Kayotsarga Mudra, rest of the people who have attained the moksha or nirvana, you don't find them in Kayotsarga Mudra. You find only the Tirthankaras in Kayotsarga Mudra. Why do you find Tirthankaras in Kayotsarga Mudra? Because this Sharira Mudra is considered as one of the most difficult one to be practiced, okay, while you are practicing the austerities. So, to make us understand how difficult or how severely the austerity practices of Tirthankaras are, so they are always represented in Kayotsarga Mudras.
Okay, because I know of some Jain people, and one of the kind of meditations that they advise is
Yes.
to do the Kayotsarga meditation.
Yes.
So that is why I wanted to understand.
And another important thing is, ma'am, in Kayotsarga meditation, what happens? In normal meditation in Padmasana, you are relaxed, you are just focusing. But in Kayotsarga, whole your body is in attention, and then you have to meditate, and that is the most difficult thing.
Yes, that is what they say. And then they say that you are not going to react to any sensation. You will
Yes.
allow your body to adjust itself to the sensation.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for asking that question. Thank you so much. It was a great things to us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, because this kind of meditation, we always know about, the normal meditation and sitting in a certain position or whatever. And this was something new which I learned. And we were told to start with even 5 minutes or 10 minutes, in the beginning, and you can slowly and gradually keep extending it to 1 hour. And this helps in two things. It helps us, one, in concentration, and secondly, it helps us to be peaceful. Like sometimes it's very hot and you become very upset and very stressed or very uneasy. So it helps us also to adjust to weather, also to seasons and all that more easily once you start doing this.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
There's a
Also, thank you for allowing me to ask that question.
pleasure always, ma'am. Gunjan Mathu is saying, sir, are there ideal of Surya in Surya temple of Konark and Modira? Gunjan Mathu question, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Gunjan, like you do not find the idol of Surya in Surya temple, okay, the sun temple Konark, okay. It is generally what used to happen is during the time of invasion, whenever there was invasion, the chief deities were very important. Without chief deity, there was no much relevance to the temple. So the energy of the temple is the chief deity. So whenever there was an attack, the chief deities or the Mula Murti, you call it as Mula Murti or Mula Virat, was taken and they used to hide it, or they used to take it and they used to run away. So likewise, most of the temples in India, 90% of the temples that you see in North India, their Mula Murtis or Mula Virats were taken by somebody from the mainly the priests or the protectors of the temples, and they ran away. They must have buried under the grounds, they must have given it to somebody, or they must have placed under a tree or some smaller temple. So likewise, most of the Mula Virats in the northern India are missing due to invasions. And even if you find Mula Virats or Mula Murtis, they are not original ones. Rather, later on they were made or they were replaced by some other Murtis that were made in and around.
Thank you so much, Kamra sir. Thank you so much. Any other questions for today? So we can have that. Okay, we can close that. Sir, Kangla sir, there is a Madhusudan Ghosh temple of Lingiraj in Bhubaneswar classified as a Naga group, but it also some structure like these found in South Indian temple. Please comment on it.
See, Lingaraja temple that is there okay, this Bhubaneswar is actually a Nagara style of temple. Why is it Nagara style of temple? Because Kalinga, that is actually Kalinga temple. It is a Kalinga style of temple, and Kalinga style of temple is established a little variant of what is Nagara temple. So whenever you study Nagara style of temples, it is to be understood that it is a little variant, a smaller variant of Nagara style. Because the only difference is you find some elements said in local Oriental language. That's it. Otherwise, it is Nagara temple. But then coming to the elements of Dravidian, see, even in Dravidian temples also you find some elements or usage of some words that are used in Nagara. The same way the elements that are there in Dravida you also find in North Indian temples. But then that doesn't mean that it makes it a Dravidian temple. Okay, you will find few elements, no doubt. For example, you go to temples of Karnataka that are there in Karnataka, you sometimes find both the elements. What we have to understand is what are the major elements that are there. Based on that, we have to classify or we have to settle with the style of the temple.
Thank you, Kangla sir. There's another question from Chevigolu. How can we define a stormy blue bullet? In chat box, there's a how can we define a Swan blue?
Yeah. He is saying how can we define a Swayambhu Mula Virat?
Yes.
Generally, when it comes to Swayambhu, Swayambhu in the sense that appears for itself. Swayam जो भूमि से निकलता है उसे बोलते स्वयंभू. Okay, Swayam plus Bhu. So generally, most of the times, the Shivalingas in India that are there are called as Swayambhu Shivalingas. Why? Because they themselves have emerged from the earth, and that is the reason they are called as Swayambhu. So if not Lingas, even other Murtis also in the temple. For example, the Murti that is there in Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam is also considered as Swayambhu Murti. Why is it Swayambhu Murti? Because they say the God by himself have emerged from the Bhumi. Nobody has created it and nobody has replaced it. So sometimes people have questioned, then if not somebody has replaced it, then how did they appear by themselves? How did they sculpt? Somebody must have sculpted, etc. will be the questions. So when we do not know who has done, when they have done, how they have done, so all such murtis are simply referred to as Swayambhu Murtis, in a sense. Okay, because they date back to eternity. We cannot date them. And that is the reason, okay, all the murtis who cannot be dated, especially the Mula Virats, they are called as Swayambhus.
Thank you again, Kangla sir. There's one question last, I think I can take it. It is already time up. So can you cover the lakes of temple which are associated with many temples and were considered one like Pushkrini and lakes around the MP? So just
yes. Wonderful question it is. Wonderful question. Why? Because the concept of
Rama sir, Yashwant.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So the concept of lakes is not a new concept. It has been there in India right almost for 5,000 to 6,000 years. Because when you look at Dholavira or any other Indus Valley civilization sites, you find rock cut. I am saying one of the oldest, the first rock cut structures in the world are available in Indus Valley civilization, especially the Dholavira rock cut reservoir. These structures, they have been source of water, maybe for rituals or maybe for the community use. And later on, the same technique has been, that is the continuity of civilization. So when people started doing the construction of temples, they started including this Pushkarini, or it is also called as Kalyani. It is also called as Kund. It is also called as Sarovar. So it is also called as Bavdi. So all such, okay, have been included along with the construction of the temple, where, okay, it may be the shortage of water, it may be for usage of rituals that are done in the temple, these were used. And recently, a scientific study was conducted on the temple ponds or this Pushkarinis or Kalyanis, and it was established that when rest of the area goes waterless, the place where these temple ponds are available till 2 kilometer radius, okay, at least there will be water available for 2 more years more than the where there is no water available. Is the beauty in the sense these temple pushkarinis, they are a very good way of replenishing the underground water table. You take the water and you are sending that water to the ground, okay, ground of ground level, okay, the water table, so that time to time, okay, the aquifers are replenished and we will be able to take water in the nearby future. That was the beauty. But then what happened, and that is the reason you see, okay, wherever the temples have been, you find groundwater level, okay, little higher, and wherever there are no such ponds, you do not find the water table, which today have gone up to 500 feet to 600, 700 feet also.
Thank you, Kangla sir. I think wonderful session conducted by you and your I think very vast knowledge and very vast presentation. I think beautiful presentation you had done with us today. Thank you on behalf of IHM Gwalior. I always welcome you in my behalf on IHM Gwalior. You are conducting always wonderful session with us. So thank you all the participants who have joined us today and make this event wonderful, successful, more ritual and great knowledgeable to all of us. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you, Kangla sir.
Thank you all. A warm namaste to everybody.
Thank you so much. And now I request our Bankim sir, if he's there, to say a vote of thanks to Kangla sir.
Sir, I'm very much grateful to all the dignitaries who reached here today on this virtual platform to share the knowledge. And we are really like feel that our knowledge has enriched and we have learned many things. It's a good luck of our IHM that we have had you on the platform, and we would also like to have in future also, because the more we meet on such virtual platforms, the more we share the knowledge, more our like students, they will be like knowledgeable and they will be able to survive in this world of competition. I like thank all our participants. I thank Mr. Bhatt. I thank on behalf of IHM Gwalior our principal sir and all the other persons. And a big namaskar from my side. So please stay connected and please serve us in the best possible manner. Thank you very much. Namaskar, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Now I request my host again to give the last voting thanks to Kangla sir, and I request Kangla sir also to come on camera if it's possible from his end, so that it will be great session to, and I will take a big screenshot to be remember for virtual platform.
I don't think I'll be able to do it. Let me see. Am I visible?
Yes.
Yeah, you have achieved.
Yes, sir. So first of all, Bhatt sir, I would like to say that I am a very, very small qualified person in front of this knowledge, sea of knowledge that we have, not sorry, sea of knowledge, it's the ocean of knowledge that we have seen today. So it's better not to judge him. But I must say one thing that Mr. Kangla is nothing but a man with, we call him ambidextrous. You know, Subhash Bose was an ambidextrous who can do both job at same time. So as we can see that he's from his presentation that he is not a great tourism researcher, but at the same time a passionate photographer. Probably that is the big thing we need to understand. The way he gone in depth inside each and every temple, that is really amazing to see. And once again, this is the biggest, I think, example that how somebody giving his education back to the society for the development of the society. This is the beautiful thing that all the teachers and the student, including me, should learn from him. And that's what I want to say. I'm speechless performance, speechless webinar. And you know, one more thing I must say, Mr. Ramakrishna sir, after your webinar, people are asking that how many webinars are IHM Gwalior conducting. Please send us information. Also act as a brand ambassador of IHM Gwalior, as well as I should say Gwalior tourism also. Demand is very high now. So tomorrow I would like to say our participant, we are also doing a vocal for local webinar tomorrow, but over there we will also connect Madhya Pradesh as well as Manipur and Nagaland. So please also stay tuned and join. We'll share on the social media, and that's how we will finish the World Tourism Paryatan Festival tomorrow. Over to you, sir. But sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rajat, for giving the wonderful speech from your end. I would like to request, first of all, thanks to Kamla sir for accepting my request on behalf of IHM Gwalior. He's always there to give us the great motivational. No, I'm not saying that motivational. I think one of the asset we have, because IIT team and IHM is a co-body of tourism industry. So on this occasion of World Tourism Industry, we are maintaining this decorum to give an enriching knowledge to all our subordinates, all our participants, whosoever is present in, because due to COVID-19, we cannot interact much. But through this virtual platform, it is all possible. We can interact, and to our sharing of knowledge gives the best results always. Thank you once again, Kamila sir, for accepting my request on behalf of IHM Gwalior. And you are always welcome to give your enriching knowledge to each and everybody. All the participants, I am sure they are quite lucky enough to give such kind of presentation from your side. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, all of you. Stay safe, stay home. And if the feedback form is not here, Rajat, please can ensure some problem is there feedback, so you can make sure them.
Okay. Right, sir. Right. Okay.